everyone. This is Michelle Gramoglia, the President and CEO here at Woodland Pond, and this is my weekly address for a Tuesday. Today is Tuesday, February 25th, 2025. As promised, we will start with some health center news. Tuesday, nope, that's next week. Thursday of this week at 1 p.m. In the PAC, the Woodland Pond Brain Health Group is going to welcome Sarah Motherway, who is our Garden View lead, to talk about all different types of things of the new programming for Garden View. And this is going to include topics such as non-medical related interventions when residents have a need for intervention, and music therapy, our art therapy program, and really just talk about some of the great benefits that our new programming has to offer in our memory care unit. So hopefully you can all make that at 1 p.m. on Thursday in the PAC. Next week, we have a couple of things coming up in the health center that are exciting. On Tuesday, the 4th, Dave Roberts, our capital projects manager, will be coming to the Great Room to give a project update. And this is great. This is an opportunity for all of our health center residents that maybe have not been able to get over to the updates at the PAC, maybe aren't seeing them on channel 1340 or on our YouTube channel. Dave will be there. And of course, independent living residents, everyone's welcome. So if you want to get an update in person, you can certainly plan on attending that in the Great Room next Tuesday, a week from today at 1:30 in the Great Room. Next week, also, this relates to everyone on campus, but is falling under the health center category because Sue Close, our activities director in the health center, reminded me of this. Next Wednesday, we will have 2 opportunities for ASHES. For those that want to recognize Ash Wednesday. They will be done at you can receive ashes at an Ash Wednesday service, which is going to be conducted by our Reverend Tyler Jones at 11:15 in the game room. And then later on that day, Father Sal from the St. Joseph's Roman Catholic Church will be here at 2 p.m. in the Great Room to provide ashes. And I'm not sure if he's doing a service as well. I know he usually does something. So 11:15 in the game room next week for ashes, or 2 p.m. on Wednesday. Also in health center news, we are currently recruiting for a new unit manager for our memory care and assisted living unit. So what we would consider the overall assisted living or enriched housing umbrella. Charlene McCumber, who is the current unit manager, has been pursuing her registered nurse or RN licensure, and she's in school full time, and she is recognizing that that is a significant workload. Incidentally, she's doing that with the help of our Woodland Pond Tuition Assistance Program, which has been greatly benefited by our benefit fund over the years. Thank you to all the residents that contribute to that. But at any rate, Charlene is going to be looking to really focus on the RN training. She'll remain in our employ, but we are going to be looking for a new unit manager for that unit. It is posted on our website and also on Indeed and other places where you can find jobs. The ideal candidate is an LPN, licensed practical nurse, who has had some long-term care, preferably assisted living experience. We do understand that that is sort of a lofty goal because there are not really many, maybe 1 or 2 other assisted living type units in our region. But we have our fingers crossed, and if you know anyone, we would ask you to share that. Likewise, you will also see that the wellness RN position has been posted for independent living, and as described, that is a registered nurse that we're looking to hire into that position to come on board and get trained and onboarded before Mary Jo retires. So you'll see a couple of those things posted. And then the last exciting thing about job postings is we have filled 3 of 4 new positions, new full-time jobs that we are adding that are already included in your 2025 budget and your rates. This is because we see an enhanced need for more community space, community building, all of our community spaces throughout the entire campus being cleaned. And we have decided that from a um, more of an appropriateness perspective, I guess is how I would put it, we are going to be having that cleaning done overnight. So we're adding 4 full-time staff members 5 days a week from Sunday night till Thursday night. This is in addition to the existing staff that we have in our environmental services department for housekeeping. 2 of those will be porters and 2 of those will be housekeeping staff. The porters will actually be hauling garbage now between 7 and until they get done on the evenings that they do hauling the garbage from the trash rooms. This is something we probably should have thought of maybe 14 and a half or 15 years ago, because it makes a lot more sense to do that when the building is not full of people and we're not hauling garbage straight through our lobby when it's filled with residents, the public, etc. So we are going to be doing that and making that change, and then very excitedly adding the additional cleaning staff. We're not taking away any positions. These are truly additive, and we're very excited to just be always increasing the level of cleanliness on campus. If you have any feedback about that, of course, you can talk to Rob Dunn. Let's see. Actually, going back to the health center, I added this as a note after I finished my initial section. There has been a question that has been ongoing for years related to what our opportunities are related to the lighting in the health center. At one point, we were able to, through some additional funding that we had from a grant, be able to re-hardwire all of skilled nursing in the common areas to enhance the lighting there. And a similar question has arisen about what we might be able to do in Garden View. And without a doubt, both the design of those units and the original lighting, which is what is there currently, were not really up to standard. We all recognize that and know that. Many of you know that we sued the architect, the engineer, the developer, and the design of the health center, including these kinds of elements, was a significant part of those lawsuits early on. That being said, we do recognize that there is an opportunity for enhancement. And the challenge is that in order to change the lighting in the Garden View area, we have to fully pull out all of the existing infrastructure and rewire everything to a different voltage of electricity. So it's a significant project, and it does require Department of Health approval. As we do anything wide scale in the health center, they have to approve a safety plan. So there's a lot to it. So what we have done is we have asked our design team from the bigger project to coordinate with us so that we can make sure that if we're going to invest significant time and money into a change now, it's not going to be something that's going to be ripped out and replaced with the eventual renovation of memory care. So those conversations are happening between Dave Roberts, Tom Tango, and our design team. And I am hoping that within the next few weeks, we have some direction from the design team. We can look at our capital budget for 2025 and determine if that's something that we want to do this year. And we will get back to you on that. The next thing that I wanted to talk about is a couple of rumor mill / pondering type items from either the rumor mill or the suggestion box. I'm not entirely sure which, because Lindsay is gracious and puts them on my desk for me every morning. We only had one since my last update, and this was a question of whether or not we could add models of the proposed construction, into the mix for residents to be able to see. And while I absolutely love that idea, they're extraordinarily expensive. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to say no. The quotes that we received to do just the basic, the modeling, to scale, because, anyone that wants to do it to scale, was upwards of $10,000 just for the phase 1. So we didn't think that was a good use of money. But instead, we have authorized the interior design firm and the architects to prepare for us what they call photo quality renderings of the new proposed spaces that are primarily focused on the additions. So the PAC, the Wellness Lounge, etc. We can add more of those if there's a desire, but we are going to start with those newer areas. And then as designs get more further developed, we can determine how much we want to invest in what level of renderings, because the photo quality renderings do cost about $2,500 each. So we want to be careful with that. We don't want to spend money where we don't need to, but we, of course, want to end up with something that you can look at and understand what's happening. Okay, now on to ponderings. So over the last several weeks, we have heard a lot of either direct inquiries made to me or to other members of our leadership team, or through the grapevine that residents have some underlying level of concern about some of the rhetoric that's coming out from both parties about what's going to happen with some of the entitlement programs and how is Woodland Pond going to address these and so forth. So in order to prepare for today's address, I thought it would be helpful to really look at the facts. And I hope that everyone listens, and I hope that you understand that this can be played back. This is recorded on our YouTube, or recorded and aired on our YouTube channel. So if you forget any of the details, you can certainly go back to that. But let's just start with the basics. Let's talk about first Medicare and Medicaid and how any changes to those programs might impact Woodland Pond. Currently, we have, and this is the average, 6 out of 365 residents are currently being paid for by Medicare benefits in our skilled nursing unit, and 7 out of 365 are on Medicaid. So that is a total of 13 residents out of 365 here at Woodland Pond that are being paid for by either Medicare or Medicaid. And that equates to less than 4% of our total census. So let's be sure that we understand this is not a material book of business or portion of our book of business for Woodland Pond. In addition to those inpatient residents that are on Medicare and Medicaid, roughly $20,000 comes in each month from outpatient therapy that's paid for by Medicare with your secondary insurances, and that equates to less than 1% of our monthly revenue. So by all accounts, these numbers are not material to Woodland Pond. Further to the point, and more importantly, and this goes back to my imploring you to please, whichever side of the aisle you are on, please take the time to read source data from news sources that align with both parties, liberal and conservative. Try to find middle of the road type things, or try to find actual source data, because there are things that I'm going to announce to you now that I think may surprise you based on what is being touted in the news. But here we go. 2025, and this is for the fiscal year of 2025 for Medicare and Medicaid, which actually begins in October of the preceding year. So the 2025 fiscal year for these programs began in October of 2024. That fiscal year is the 5th straight year of Medicare cuts. So for 5 straight years, Medicare has been cut already. The cut for 2025, which was effective in October of 2024, was 2.8% of overall Medicare spending. Additionally, in 2022, the cut was $320 million. So these are significant dollars, and we are accustomed to cuts. We see cuts every year. There just seems to be more news about it happening now. What is important for the residents to know is that Woodland Pond does not rely heavily on Medicare or Medicaid, and there is no talk right now at all that I've seen in terms of anyone recommending or suggesting that any of your benefits as a Medicare recipient should be touched. That may change, but currently the 2025 budget proposal that is in front of Congress is not including any changes to your Medicare benefits. And again, it's not a significant book of business to Woodland Pond. And finally, we do anticipate cuts every year because we've seen them almost every year, especially in the last 5. As it relates to the overall impact of what some are suggesting happen with both Medicare and Medicaid and Social Security, and I'll talk a little bit more about Social Security in a minute, what I have gleaned, again, from looking at a variety of sources and factual data, including very, I would say, reliable data, which comes directly from CMS, which is the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, right on a fact sheet that they have on their website. My understanding is that the intent is to first, before making any wide-scale changes to the programs, is to crack down on improper payments. And to summarize what an improper payment is, these are billing for services that aren't medically necessary, overcharging for supplies or services, misusing billing codes to increase reimbursement, abuse and neglect of residents in facilities that receive Medicaid payments, misappropriation of patient funds by healthcare facilities, and improper enrollment in both Medicare and Medicaid programs. And so what does the CMS website tell us, Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, on their fact sheet about improper payments and the magnitude of how significant these improper payments are? In 2024, the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, which is a government watchdog and oversees the Medicare and Medicaid program, nonpartisan, estimates that the improper payments for Medicaid were $31.1 billion. So for Medicaid, that watchdog and overseer of those programs estimates and self-reports that they feel that the improper payments were $31.1 billion for Medicaid. For Medicare, the same organization, the same website, and I'll tell you how you can Google it in a second, estimates that the Medicare improper payments for the year 2024 were $618 billion. And this is not coming from a conservative or a liberal or anybody that has any particular bent on this. This is coming straight from CMS. In order to see this data, if you'd like to fact check me, you can easily Google 2024 CMS improper payment fact sheet. And again, it's my understanding from my review of a variety of sources that the first target of anyone that's going to be looking at trying to recoup or tighten the belt on these two programs, Medicare and Medicaid, is particular to focusing on how do we eliminate some of these improper payments. Of course, anything can change, but that is what I currently understand the target to be. As it relates to Social Security, I have seen nothing in all of my research to suggest that anyone is suggesting or saying that your current Social Security benefits are expected to change. I have seen that there is a potential that for those of us that are under 59, age 59, that there may be a change in the eligible age of retirement, but there's no specifics about that. But again, I've seen absolutely nothing from either party that actually says that there's going to be a change to the benefits that you are currently receiving under Social Security as an enrolled and current recipient of Social Security. There are suggestions heavily, but there are no facts. And the suggestions seem to be coming from a place of, I don't know, I don't want to say fear mongering, but when you really look at the facts, it's not there. What I have seen, and I've seen this documented in a number of places, is that President Trump is proposing that Congress consider eliminating the income tax liability attached to your Social Security payments. And so what does that mean? That means that if this goes through, that those of you that experience income tax liability on your Social Security payments currently, that would go away. which means that your net Social Security payment each month would actually go up. So it is yet to be seen if that goes through, but to me, that sounds like a benefit. Um, some of you pay, some of you don't pay income tax on your Social Security benefits. It all depends on your total income for a particular tax year. But many of our residents do pay income tax on your Social Security. And if this goes through, then you will not do that anymore. So again, I think that it's really important. These were all things that I spent time this week and over the weekend trying to figure out if I could kind of get to the bottom of some of these things on behalf of the residents. And I tried very hard to bring you factually based data, but please do yourself the favor that I have done and read information from both sources or all sources so that you can kind of suss through some of the noise. Just a couple more calendar items. Tomorrow, the HVAC unit that we have been waiting for about 6 or 8 months, about $300,000 investment that we made in the pool pack, which is the HVAC unit that services the pool, will actually arrive on site tomorrow. It will not be installed immediately. The vendor has to coordinate a crane delivery to remove the old pool pack off the top of the roof and replace the new one and plumb everything in. And so once we know when the pool will be closed, it'll be closed for somewhere between 3 and 5 days to allow for the work and to allow for everything to get tested and balanced. That's very exciting. This will help moderate and temper the climate and the conditions in the pool. And we've been very excited that we could invest in this. The current pool pack is working, but it's temperamental and has been since it was installed 15 years ago. So we're really excited that we were able to invest in this for the residents and the comfort of those using the pool. Today at 4 p.m. in the PAC, the current events group has sponsored a speaker named Simon Galuli, who's an associate professor of political studies at Bard College. And he will be speaking on the White House and Congress, partners or opponents? Question mark. So please, if you're interested in those kinds of topics, please do attend that. And for those that are curious, yes, the invited speaker process was followed, and this was cleared by corporate compliance. So we are good to go. Tomorrow at 3 p.m. in the PAC, there is the quarterly resident associations meeting. Those are great meetings. And I already talked about Thursday at 1 p.m. in the PAC. The Brain Health Group is bringing the Garden View program. And finally, to round out this week, Friday at 2:45 in the PAC, the Starlight Trio is coming back for an encore performance. We know that everybody likes to see them. I hope that this has been food for thought for some of you. I welcome further discussion on any of these topics. I am out of the office this Thursday and Friday, but I will be back next week. And please enjoy the day and take care.